Hello. Thanks for the intro. Arantxa, way to go. A lot of the things I agree with what you presented. We're going to be talking about it as well as far as employee engagement and training. To everybody at Plunet, thank you on behalf of our company and all of our people that work here for how you've contributed to our success. It means a lot to us. And I feel fortunate to be here because there's a lot of people at our company that would rather be here than me. And I barely made it out of the country alive. So, there was a survey that it produced some interesting data. It showed that managers who lose employees that leave the company, 89% of the time they think those employees leave due to compensation. The employees surveyed said that only 12% of them left because of compensation. If there's such a huge disparity, 89% to 12% in the reality of why people are leaving, what are they leaving for? Arantxa covered some good points, right? So, there's a lot of reasons people leave. It's not always compensation. Did you know that globally, 80% of employees are unengaged? Unengaged comes in two sets, just unengaged and actively disengaged. Now this is for employees, it applies to resources, linguists, everybody you work with, where they're unengaged. They don't feel your mission, they don't feel the purpose, they don't understand why they're doing what they're doing, and sometimes they feel stuck in a role. We believe that this is largely, and this is from Gallup, and we'll talk about them in a minute, but we believe this is largely due to employee engagement. And the factors that relate to employee engagement and how it impacts a business. Organizations with highly engaged employees experience 41% lower absenteeism. Their people show up. Fewer defects, 40% fewer defects. Their quality's higher. They have higher sales, they have higher profit, they have higher customer ratings. And they have less turnover. Their attrition is lower. So, how are they doing it? And the question is there a way to increase competency and retention without significant additional costs? Now, the first part of the question is easy. Is there a way to increase competency and retention? Yeah, absolutely. Do you have a boatload of money? There's plenty of companies that will take it all. Can you do it without significant additional costs or time? We believe you can. And I'll show you what we've done, which by no means is perfect. We're never perfect. We aspire to be perfect, but not in training. Not in what I'm going to show you. We don't even try to be perfect. So, the importance of engagement. This is the 2021 report, State of the Global Workplace report that came out from Gallup last year. It talks a lot about COVID. It has a whole bunch of good data. 116 countries were surveyed, 100,000 plus people were surveyed, and they come up with good data. This is the US engagement. We're in a slump right now. They talk about that. They have data on pretty much the major areas. Here's some data from Germany. This QR code will take you to it if you can get a picture of it, or I can give it to you later, or you can just search for it, you'll find it. Okay, so that's the report, and what's behind that report and how they measure employee engagement is this Q12 engagement hierarchy. It's 12 questions that they ask. There are a lot of people trying to measure this. Gallup is a special organization. They've done a very good job at it. I don't get any commission from them or anything. Just really, their data is solid. Pull the report, you'll see what it means. So these 12 questions that help measure engagement, they start out with the basic needs. For example, I know what's expected of me at work. goes up to individual, teamwork, and growth. Kind of like, a little bit like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? So, is that working? I wasn't sure if it would. So, anyway, I can give it to you later. So, out of all of these 12 questions, over half of them directly relate to training. And indirectly, a lot more. So, if we're looking at employee engagement, you want to have a big impact on everyone, not just your employees, the people, everybody who works with you. If you can do it through training and some of these other factors, it'll make a big difference. We get a lot of engagement from our resources, from our linguists, and there's some special ways that we do that. So when we talk about training and the impact of training on employee engagement, there are a lot of obstacles, right? So you find someone, you vet them, you work hard to get them, you've proven that they're capable to learn. By the time you hire them, you're thinking, okay, this is good, right? And some of them drum out because they don't like whatever. But those ones that you keep that understand your processes, match with your culture, there's obstacles. You've got personalities, you have work ethics, you have costs, resources, you have your training processes. There's just a whole bunch of obstacles that get in the way of all of this, including training management systems. So this is our philosophy to training. Perfection is the enemy of progress. We don't try to be perfect. We let them know we're not interested in being perfect. We're looking for people who can bridge the gap between our perfections and still understand everything. Think of Plunet. I mean, it's not something you get into just immediately and it's like, oh, wow, so easy, right? It's not like breathing. You have to learn it a little bit, right? If the training is perfect, you took too long to make it. And I believe a presentation earlier kind of alluded to this as well. We believe this strongly. So if there's an imperfection in our training, let's say we did a training, what was it, 7.4 or whatever, and we have some videos out there, we expect our people to be able to see the training and bridge the gap if needed. Well, in the testing, it'll show up whether they're able to do that or not, and then we'll make adjustments. So, training components. My goal is just to show you what we do. You guys can pivot from it and kind of have an idea, make it better, make it fit for you. First thing we do, we have learning paths. The learning paths are pretty specific. It's the first 2 to 3 weeks of somebody joining the company. They go through, it starts with a test. Inside those tests, we use simple functions. Google or Microsoft Forms, things that we're already paying for that doesn't cost anything extra. We use videos or links within the forms. They watch the videos, they go through the questions, and they answer them. They have to reach a certain grade. If they don't get through it, they go through it again and again and again until they figure it out. We also use it for behavioral assessments where there won't be videos. We do a bunch of that stuff for them and career development things. We'll talk about that in a minute. The questions relate to the content in videos. Some of them are more difficult, some of them are easy. And then the videos are hosted on an inexpensive or free protected portal. So as long as they're secure and they're accessible, then we're good with it. And then once they've done the videos and they've passed the test, they understand essentially what it is, you've got a short window where the retention will drop. And I don't remember the stats, but it drops pretty quick. So what we do to bridge that gap is we have them go into practical exercises. So if they just finished a video and a test on setting up an order in Plunet, they're going to be setting up more orders right after they learned it so that we can lock it in, right? Because sometimes we'll train somebody on something that's a peripheral skill. So they may be doing quality assurance, but they're going to learn how to set up a project as well. Okay, testing questions. This is kind of relevant because we have some questions that if you looked at, you think these people are dumb. Why'd they ask that? It's like there's only one right answer. Well, there's some reasons we do that. So, varying degrees of difficulty. Some of them aid in retention, some of them teach, some of them highlight common mistakes. If we have 10 people that go through the same training and all of them make the same mistake, after they get through, we'll put 3 questions in there guiding them to the right answer. And it'll be really easy questions so that it locks in their memory exactly what they're supposed to do. Some gauge mastery of material. We use that for certifications that we do. The content and desired outcome determine the type of questions we ask. So it can range from very difficult to very simple and easy. Okay, recording training videos. This is the heart of what we do as far as our training. First of all, everyone does it. Sometimes they're doing it before they're hired. We'll have them record a video teaching us something about them. We'll use that video as an introduction to the company if we hire them. Other times they'll do it. We have a training, video, and test on how to do videos and testing, which seems a little weird, but it works. And it's always interesting when somebody starts out, they start out training, or their first video is always, they're worried about it. They'll say something like, oh, I spent like 3 hours on it and I was really nervous about it. And they get the hang of it and I do videos too, and they look at mine and it's like, oh, I can do better than that. So you start with a clear objective in mind. What do you want them to learn? If it's something big like order setup, you would divide up. Maybe, lots of different things you could divide up. But clear objective in mind with what you want with the videos. Quick outline of content to be covered. Sometimes you don't need an outline, other times you need it because it'll make the video concise. Simple screen recording software. Just show of hands, who has screen recording software, who has used it? Yeah, good, great. See, it's something a lot of us have done. There's free software out there. It's really slick and easy to do. And if everybody really believes that perfection's not the goal, it lets off that pressure. And keep your videos short and to the point if possible. That I shouldn't even put on a slide because people have seen my videos in my company and they're not that short sometimes. Okay, training types. So we have some different training types. Tutorial, these are just quick. So if, for example, it was something that I was just trying to get done really quick and fast and get it out, or I was trying to correct a common mistake or update something or whatever, you just record the video and you send it out to the team and they can capture it. Other ones we do are testing. These are more minimum requirements. To be able to do this job or to do this function, you have to meet these minimum requirements. Testing can be simple or difficult depending on the topic. Then we have certifications. We have certifications for our resources. So if a linguist is going to work for us, we give them an opportunity to certify in Plunet, and it's a training and a video and a test that they take, and when they're done with the test, we give them a certification in Plunet. All of our project managers look at that, and we tell our resources, we tell them that, hey, look, you might want to do this, because our project managers like working with people who know how to submit invoices. They know how to accept jobs. They know what first come, first serve means, and all of that. And so when they get trained, it's pretty nice, and that also relates to compensation. Now, internally in the company, we'll have certifications in different things, more advanced knowledge, and it helps them kind of progress. Now, my favorite, and a lot of people's favorite, because they always tell us we don't do enough of it, is career development. These are not things that necessarily relate to the job. These are things to build their skill sets. Our goal is, sure, keep everybody as long as we can that we like, right? Keep everybody who's really good. Keep those just great people, right? But we're not gonna, not forever. So our goal with them is to build them up so strong that when they go to their next company, they are grateful to us forever because they go to a new company and they are superhuman. They know how to do things that no one has taught them how to do. We get that feedback all the time. I'll have people contact me from 5 years ago saying, thank you. I'm using what I did in the career development training with my job right now, and I can't tell you. I mentor sessions with people from 5, 6 years ago. So I love that. We don't do it enough. Sorry, guys, we don't do it enough if you're watching this. Training examples. Here are some examples of what we do. Internally, could be Plunet order setup, resource selection, recruiting in a friendly way. That's a good one. Sometimes people can be a little curt with resources. Converting PDFs, I think we mentioned that, right? External, system certification, introduction to business managers, submitting your invoice, proofreading basics. We have our own way to proofread. We train our proofreaders in how to do it, depending on the process. We get what we want out of that, and it works really well. And then accepting jobs, etc. Now, here's a tough one. Have you ever had anybody give notice that you really didn't want to leave the company? Oh, those are sad days, aren't they? They give notice and you're looking at it, it's like, oh my gosh, I love you. Why are you leaving, right? So here's our process and kind of what we do about that. Anybody you love, anybody who's been with you a long time, when they leave a company, when they leave your company, it's hard for them. They have a lot of mixed emotions. They're leaving people that they love, people that they have a good relationship. If you're even half good at engagement, they're leaving a place they feel good at for whatever reason. Mostly probably just me, but anyway, no. No, it's probably compensation, right? Isn't that what the data says? No. When they give notice, here's what we do. First of all, we find out why they're leaving and evaluate possible changes. So if it happens to be compensation, great, look at that. Why are they really leaving? Next, we identify any uncovered responsibilities. What are they doing that is not really covered by anybody else, which shouldn't happen, or maybe our training just doesn't cover it well enough? Have them record videos and create the training on anything that's undocumented or uncovered. Now, this gives them an outlet. It gives them, you can't, somebody gives 2 weeks notice or 4 weeks notice, you can't find their replacement that quickly. You don't know if the person you're gonna hire to replace them is gonna drum out in a week or whatever. You have to capture it. And somebody who cares, somebody who's engaged in your company, they're a little torn about leaving. They're worried for the things they know that other people might not know. This gives them a great outlet. And who did they learn from? They learned from people 5 years ago, 6 years ago. They know who they are. So they become part of our history and part of our ability to pass that knowledge on. Then you train their interim replacement and transfer responsibilities, whatever you can do, right? And then discover why you have undocumented processes. That shouldn't happen, you know? You should be able to have everything covered. So here's some of the benefits that we feel of our simplified training program or learning management system, whatever you want to call it. It improves engagement. Everybody participates. It helps them know what their job is, helps them find a bigger purpose. Some of our training is on our culture. It's on how we behave with each other. It talks about our aspirational goals. We have an aspirational goal of holding each other accountable. We talked about bonuses, right? And compensation like that. A lot of ours are structured around some of our aspirational goals. If somebody can hold somebody else accountable and that level of maturity and teamwork where they can do it, they'll get comped for that a little bit. Or a lot. I don't know. I don't know what the right thing is to say. So, simple and quick documentation with the videos. You've got a new process, you go through it. It doesn't take much longer than to do the video than it does to actually do the training. That's where the imperfection comes in. That's where it's important. Frees and saves time. So, have you guys ever had to show somebody multiple times how to do something? Right? And it's like, oh God, this is the third person I've had to show this. Why have I not done a video on it? Why haven't we documented it? Why haven't we got a test in it? Well, this gets it done right away. Reduces the burden on trainers and managers. If a linguist comes and says, I'm not sure how to submit my invoice. For example, as soon as the new password process comes out, I won't even need to assign it to someone. Someone will jump on that video in our company and say, I've got it. And they'll do a video of how to change their password. And that's going to go into a repository. It will go out to the linguists. Every time, some of those people are going to ask every time, right? You're going to have to tell them 10 times. Well, this time you're just going to send the link to them 10 times and then see if there's maybe some malfunction. But excellent start for formal process documentation. That's the other thing, because the end goal, we want all of our documents, all of our processes documented, written out, and this is a good way to do it. And what it does is it allows the person who knows how to do it, who might not be a technical writer or a trainer, to be able to document the process in video and have the people who specialize in that come behind them to document, to write it down and create a test if needed. So in summary, engagement is incredibly important, and it's heavily impacted by training. Our recommendation, keep it incredibly simple. Use simple tools, use the tools you've already got. Quick and good training is better than perfect and never completed training. So the more imperfect, there's a threshold. But if it's very imperfect, way to go. They tried, great, let's see if we can bridge the gap. Now that's what the questions are for. All those forms, somebody goes through, let's say you run 10 people through a test, on the back end you can see which questions everybody's missing. Then you can look at it and say, wait, is that a bad question? Are we wording it weird? Is the content not in there? And you can fix it and go back to it later. And use inexpensive tools and methods. We're really big on ROI, so this makes the ROI really easy and some pretty simple math. And then training is the responsibility for everybody. It gives everybody an outlet. It lets everybody feel like they're part of the process. And there's really no penalty for getting it wrong. Just do it, and it helps everybody out. So thanks for everything you guys have done for us. Thank you.